Hey, what's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about the nebari on field grown maples. This tree is a tree that I started from a young whip, something like this, maybe the size of this branch. And the steps that it's gone through so far are that the branch was, the whip was wired and it was, given some shape and whatnot. So it's actually a relatively large tree. The trunk is about maybe 2 inches across, right here above the nebari. And for the last 2 years, this has been growing in my one of my field growing locations. But with maples, one of the things I've seen before with field growing is that what ends up happening is you get a nice big expansion of the trunk, but because we have these really big roots that are taking off and heading off into the field soil, we end up getting really roots that are way too big on coming out of the trunk. So this one maybe is about the right size, but we can see here that maybe this root, if it's not going to split, is actually probably a little bit too big. And the same thing is true over here. There's sort of like almost like it's cutting under a little bit here. It's not, it's just that the slope is going steeper right there. So in order to continue improving the nebari on this, what I've done is I've dug it out of the ground and I'm going to go around and I'm going to do a root pruning just like this was in a bonsai pot. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to put it back in the field with a new board underneath it, and I'm going to ground grow it for another 2 years. And that should help balance out the size of the roots here. So one of the things that I want to keep in mind is that the larger the root already, the more I want to cut it back, because I want to encourage the smaller roots in between the large roots to run in the future so that we continue to get a nice radial nebari on the tree. I've got this all trimmed up, done considerable amount of root work here, both to the bottom and the sides, a few large cuts on some of the roots here that were sticking out, not at the right angle. So I've got everything kind of sloped down and outward, cutting off some of the bigger roots and leaving a lot of the finer roots. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plant this in this Anderson flat, fill it up with some regular bonsai soil, and then I'm going to cover it with some sphagnum moss right around the roots here. I'm also going to use guy wires to strap from the corners of this container to somewhere up here on the trunk, maybe the base of this branch with some rubber on it to hold it in place, because I don't want to put any tie wires in the container because I don't want them to potentially get embedded in the base as the base continues to swell. Once I've got that all done, I'm going to go ahead and just take this out into the field. I'm going to set this container on top of some landscape fabric, let the tree get established in the container, and then once I know it's got a pretty good set of roots, I'll actually set this Anderson flat, which has a mesh bottom, straight on the ground and let this thing take off again into the ground. So that's about all for today. Good luck with you growing with field growing your Japanese maples.